just in San Francisco. The San Francisco Jewish Film Festival screened the movie twice. And so we were in two theaters with a couple hundred people in each theater. And then afterwards you have the Q&A. But then after the Q&A, you really have the Q&A. And I will tell you that there were maybe two, not that there's a sign that says I'm going, but from what Lisa and I could tell, there were just maybe 2 or 3 Orthodox people in each audience, and the groups of people surrounding us who wanted to tell us their stories, they did not come from Orthodox homes at all. They came from every flavor of Judaism.
And what we're doing to do what, as Yaakov beautifully articulated, and Phil, is if it's brought out, if the voices of the survivors are heard, always you will have people who will come up and say, me too. If you could speak, if you have the courage, then if you heal, so can I. We do what we call healing services or shofar Shabbats. The first one ever, and I can thank Yaakov and Rabbi Frank, the first one ever in this community was right here in Netivot Shalom. And since then, there have been no other Orthodox shuls, but we've had other shuls, Reconstructionist, Reform, Conservative, and we're asking rabbis and shul leaders to invite us in. I don't speak, the survivors speak. And it doesn't matter what spectrum of where you are in the Jewish community, always there are people in the audience, and this is usually on a Shabbos, but it could be on a Sunday, will come forward with tears saying, thank you for being my voice. I'm 40 some odd years old, I'm 50 some odd years old. I have never told anyone, you have been my voice, now I'm gonna get help.
We're gonna take one last question, and then we can go downstairs to the basement because they're going to have a minhag here. So, yeah.
I just wanted to really ask all 3 of you the possibilities of the punishment phase, so to speak, because from what we saw in the movie, other than Senior Rabbi Shapiro and now Rabbi Max, who will answer to a higher authority, as they say, the judge let the younger Rabbi Shapiro off fairly easily. And I have to say that when the story about Rabbi Max broke, I have a non-Jewish employee who said, oh, I knew he was doing that 35 years ago. Some of my friends who were Jewish told me. So it was so prevalent, and everybody knew about it. Nobody spoke past their peers, I guess it was. What hope do we have that these people are going to get punished properly, other than by Hashem? Hopefully. I want to speak.
When I pressed charges against Yisrael Shapiro, it was a grueling process. And it took me a long time to get to the point of even being willing to press charges. And I couldn't do it without a tremendously strong support group in place. I had to make my report twice because at the time that I made my report, there were massive changes going on in the police department, and they lost the first report, and I had to go in and do it again. The prosecutor didn't need me for the case once they got my statement, and what I wanted was less important to them than them getting a conviction, however they got that, and at the time, what I was told was that less than 10% of cases that are ever reported get brought to go to court, and less than 1% of those end up with repercussions. I don't know if those statistics are still true or not.
Absolutely, you're right.
Shapiro, in my case, didn't even, I mean, like you saw in the movie, this Alford plea, which guilty but not guilty sort of thing that he did, it wasn't spoken about in the movie in depth. I don't think remember, but he wouldn't teach me unless he was actually molesting me, and I couldn't, you know, there isn't enough that they could have done to him had they put him in jail and put him on that list, which he's not on that list because of a legal loophole, because it was too far back. You know, I can't go after him civilly because statute of limitations is over. Like, the only way that these people will get the maximum punishment is if their victims come forward as soon as possible, and that's oftentimes impossible. Really difficult. I didn't even have the words to express what happened to me when it started. I didn't know what was going on, and I certainly didn't trust, you know, hear a rabbi. He's supposed to be like, how am I supposed to trust somebody with this? And you know, and even with all my recovery and with all the support, you know, the system is still broken. So it's, you know, we should do it. We should do it. We should continue to report. We should continue the fight. We should continue to and hopefully, you know, hopefully they get what they deserve, but or they get taken out of society, you know, to a place where they can't hurt other people anymore. But I don't know that, you know, that there's any other way.
I wanted to share one thing about that.
Can I just say one thing? But
Yeah, I just want to say one thing about reporting. Just in my particular situation, I was 14 when I was sexually abused, and I did tell immediately after and told a psychiatrist, and it was never reported. So there was a lot of things that could have helped had it been reported. And I'm just saying, like, even as a survivor, if you have the courage, or if somebody has the courage to come forward and tell you, it is so important that it gets reported. You know, you can't be responsible for what happens after that, but it's really, really important.
Okay, so
just one second. It's no long story other than get the best possible education for your children and your grandchildren. You've got to teach the youngest, and my daughter's teaching has already taught my 5-year-old granddaughter what inappropriate behavior is from another human being, anatomically communicating with her, not talking about things in childish words, but in adult terms and so on. So that's probably the best defense that all of our generations have, is getting to the youngest kids right now and educating them on how to protect themselves.
So we're gonna head downstairs if people want to continue this conversation.
We'll also be having mincha here.
There's also going to be mincha up here. If there are index cards that people want to give
Is my
for
card
questions,
if I can bring